Welcome to the Hollywood Scholar. I'm Jed Morgan, and it appears that someone is breaking through the dogma and the propaganda of the comic book industry to tell a unique story, or at least unique in the modern sense of breaking free of the narrative. And I'm not a huge comic book fan, I haven't read a lot, but I like to shout out this article that talks about this comic book that may be going in a divergent direction from what the majority of the comic book industry is. So I want to shine some light on them and possibly just give them enough attention that people will see that stuff like this is what fans want. At least divergent content. Maybe not the message of the story people may not like, but the difference of it. That there's something new. That it just shows both sides of an argument. So we got this article here from Bounding Out of Comics. Mike Barron explains his pro-police thin blue line graphic novel is a direct response to the 2020 riots, which is very interesting because the 2020 riots were such a devastating series of events. They reshaped the country, and people aren't responding to them as if they were bad. They're not. The news isn't reporting on it. They act like that the day in January that I'm not allowed to say on YouTube was 10,000 times more devastating than anything since 9/11, forgetting a few months prior cities were being burned all across the country. So it's nice to see someone in the entertainment industry bringing attention to those horrific events and the things that happened in them, and just the complexity of the issues that were addressed. People made it into a binary: you're on our side or you're against us. There's a lot of complexity when it comes to that issue. I don't want to go into my political opinions on this subject, but I just believe that there's a lot more gray than a lot of these woke lunatics will acknowledge, and there's just complexity in both sides of any argument, and any side of nearly any argument deserves to be heard and argued in a mature and logical manner, which isn't done these days. But longtime Punisher writer and the creator of Nexus, Mike Barron, recently explained that his upcoming pro-police graphic novel, Thin Blue Line, is a direct response to the Word I Can't Say and another series of Words I Can't Say riots of 2020. In the interview, Barron says, "Well, I always say I don't choose my stories, stories choose me. As a writer myself, that is actually very similar to how I feel, but that's beside the point. And like every one of you, I was watching the television during the long, hot summer of 2020 when we saw talking news heads in front of the cities that had been burned to the ground explaining they were mostly peaceful riots. I love that clip from the CNN. The city's burning behind this reporter, and he's just like, mostly peaceful protests. And then the politicians started to cry for defunding the police. Yeah, just expounding the issues and making things worse. My reaction was, are they insane? Civilization depends on the rule of law. You are either for the rule of law or you're not, he asserted. Yeah, it's just finally showing some complexity in the overall political issues and showing multiple sides of an issue. Because there are a lot of people out there who think they can replace the police with social workers. Well, that's not true, he explained. Yeah, bad guys are still going to be bad and still do bad things. And sometimes you need to use force to stop bad guys. And social workers can't use force. Ha! Crazy thought, I know. It's crazy. Barron went on to detail his personal relationship with a number of police officers. Another reason I wrote the book is I know a number of police officers, and the ones I know are dedicated to civic individuals who join the force to make a positive difference in their communities. We all know there are bad cops, but this isn't about them. Yeah, you can have bad cop stories all the live long day, as long as it's equally okay in the entertainment industry to show good cop stories, which seems to be a controversial take, but as long as one's okay, the other should be okay. That's kind of how I approach the entertainment industry, is default neutrality on all political issues and stuff like this, where it's totally fine to have a completely men bad movie, as long as it's completely okay to have an all women bad movie. As long as that's okay, don't have an issue with either one. Barron then detailed the stories, particularly wrote itself, and I have to emphasize it's not a lecture, it's pure drama. And I don't know if that's true. He may just turn into a type of political propaganda that most of the comic book industry does, just with a different opinion. I hope he doesn't. I hope he's telling the truth where it's the story first. I can enjoy any story that has a different political message that I agree with, as long as it's well written and a good story and the plot came first. And it seems to be what he's trying to go for here. You're going to love it. It's going to grab you by the throat on the first page, and you won't be able to put it down until you finish it. And Punisher writer definitely seems like the right type of person to make a story like this. And there's actually some pretty good artwork, it looks like here, whereas most of the comic book industry this day doesn't know how to do a fucking background anymore in shots like this. So it's nice to see that someone put some talent and care into the writing and the artwork for a comic book, which is very unusual. He revealed it was rejected by numerous publishers. yeah, I'm not surprised. We submitted to every major publisher and a lot of others. The polite ones just gently passed, but the impolite ones, and they're the bigger publishers in the industry, their response was vulgar and nasty, and we weren't surprised. Yeah, I can imagine like Image Comics or something like that going, "You did what? You show police as good people? Woo! Woo!" and start like yelling at them, vulgar and nasty. That is exactly what I'd expect. We didn't expect anyone to pick up this book up. We know what the comic book industry is like. It's a branch of the entertainment. It's split right down the middle, and we did publish a couple of their responses with their names redacted, and we always plan on publishing it ourselves, he concluded. Okay, yeah, self-publishing seems to be the only option for a story like this that goes against the narrative. One publisher, Apex Comics out of the UK, insinuated Baron was a racist for the title. God, they have innate misunderstanding of everything. Retards. In a comment on the Facebook group, the publisher responded to Barron's promotion to the campaign writing, "Would never support this. It's one thing to show cops, but the blue line has shown itself to be a racist movement that seeks to protect corrupt cops from justice and supports institutional racism." Wow. I'm not a big fan of companies having political opinions. I'm okay with anyone inside sharing their political opinions, but I don't think companies in and of themselves should have a political opinion unless it... on certain issues, it's fine, but it just default companies neutral. That's what I think. But the publisher added naming the book that suggests a lot about the writer in the comic, so big no from me. Jesus Christ, that is some vile hate spewed at someone you don't even know. You can't even read the book, and, fuck. They're just like, "Police good? You bad." Wow. So earlier today, I made a comment on an award-winning DC comic writer's book, and I couldn't support a book about cops brutally beating people. I drew attention to the name of the book, which I won't share, and it's... You don't know that that's what the story is about. In this article and what I've seen about this book, it said nothing about this being the plot. So you're just trying to support your own issue. Just checked my inbox. A lot of people insulting me, telling me I wish to never make something so good, and what's wrong with They concluded it is what it is. We don't want racist. You're attacking your fans now too. Good on you, Apex. Good on you. Get a good way to close your business. Go bankrupt. This is the end of the trail you just started. So yeah, just going more into the plot, that seems actually quite interesting. And, I'm hoping that it does well. It's unfortunate that they had to go the Indiegogo route or the Kickstarter route when it seems to be a very competently made comic book from a very established comic book writer with a history in The Punisher, which used to be a good comic book series. At least it seems like when it was during his run is when it was good. But it's just sad that you can't have a different opinion. And that's very evident in the entire entertainment industry and really America as a whole these days on anything online platform. But I'd be interested to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Are you going to be checking out this Thin Blue Line comic book, supporting this independent comic book creator now that he's been called all these names and kicked out of the industry? But that's all I have for today. If you please like, share, and subscribe, I will see you on the next video. Anon. If you like what I do here and want to see good, compelling stories that Hollywood will no longer give you, check out my book series, Odyssey of a Phoenix, a mythological epic about philosophy, morality, and modern-day mental illness issues. Books 1, Down in Flames, and Book 2, Apocalypse Then, currently on sale. Book 3, Kill the Dark, coming soon.